Hello and welcome back to History Repeats Itself. My name's Negative Root and let's get cracking. Today we are launching the Discoverer 1 probe. Discoverer 1 was a very interesting experiment. It achieved a few things and then was a precursor for another American approach to space. Basically what they did was, first of all, they put this in a polar orbit, which hadn't been done before. But the nice thing about a polar orbit is that it will... We just turn on SAS here. I'm heading the wrong way, I want to go north. I like north better. Basically they put this thing in a polar orbit because they wanted to know firstly if they could do it, and secondly, if they could do it, how much they could get up there. Now, this is the Thor rocket with the Agena top stage. The Agena stages were basically an orbital insertion stage. They put them on the top of the rocket to get the stage, the payload, to the orbit that they needed. The bottom is the Thor, and it's kind of odd shaped, but whatever. Now, the orbit we need to go for is of an inclination of 89.7 degrees. So quite inclined, nearly perfectly polar. Perfectly polar being 90 degrees. We'll start to tilt this bad boy over. Notice that our inclination now is starting to rise quite rapidly. We'll get that as close to 90 as I can. Now the orbit I'm gunning for today is going to be 163 kilometres by 968. We're using the faster mod, so these are all faster parts, and there's some procedural fairings to make the rocket look a little bit better. Okie dokie. Keep burning like this. This rocket's got a ton of delta V, mostly because the payload isn't very big. The Discoverer program ran for a very long period of time. There were a ton of launches involved because it turned into the Corona project. Discoverer was kind of a pseudonym. Was it pseudonym the right word for it, or... Hang on a second, let me... That's pretty cool, isn't it? Corona was, a spy effort. They put up satellites to take photos of the Earth as it was flying over, and then the satellites would come back to Earth. The space agency would develop it, or the spy agency would develop the photo, and they would, basically see what their adversaries were doing at the time. Now we need to continue to lift our apoapsis up. So, whoop, a little bit far. That's okay though. Now what we'll do is we'll grab a maneuver here. We want it to be... Where'd it go? Here. Right, come back a little bit. The apoapsis is going to be 968. 968. Right, yo, nearly there. And back a little bit. Oh, a little bit. Oh, back a little bit. This will give us a really nice idea of where we want to be at. Okie dokie. We'll just turn off SAS for a moment and we'll get some RCS. Okey-dokey. Now we're locked on our maneuver node. We were. Hold on. Okey-dokey. So, in 3 minutes 40 seconds, we're going to be burning to get the right orbit. Probably want to burn at about 10 seconds, I think. And you notice that we've got plenty left in the stage to achieve it. Nearly there. Okie dokie. Let's go. Right. You want to just see if we can limit this engine down a lot. And now, just fine tune. That's better. Right, nearly there. Just increase our acceleration a little bit. Right. After we get there, I'll explain how these worked. Okay. Now, apoapsis is actually nowhere near where we need it to be. It's a bit of a bugger. I'll have to come around for another pass. .68. So I've had a bit of a derp moment there. Reckon I did, didn't I? Oh dear. They were easier to click. 968. Okay. Okay, while we're waiting for it to come around, I'll explain a little bit about how these worked. Now, because it's in an inclined orbit and the Earth is rotating, well, the Kerbin in this situation is rotating beneath us, a polar orbit will actually allow you to see all parts of the planet. So the nose cones of these were loaded with a camera. They pointed them towards the Earth on a timer, and then they let them go. With the camera clicking away, it would take photos of anything that passed beneath it. So they launched them and put them deliberately into a polar orbit so that they would fly over Soviet territory and Chinese territory. And yeah, there we go. That's how they would spy on other not other planets, other nations. So there we go. That's Discoverer 1 now in orbit. After a little while, what it would happen is that there would be a retro pack in here. It would stage, the retro pack would fire, and that would deorbit the satellite into US territory, hopefully. A few of them didn't though, so I think the Russians worked out what was happening fairly early on in the piece. Anyway, I've been Nick Group. I look very much forward to seeing you again for the next episode, where we recreate more historical launches from the space race era.